Why narcissists break up with you but won't leave you alone. Have you ever found yourself caught in a relationship with a narcissist where they suddenly decide to end things, only for you to realize that, despite their decision, they can't seem to truly let you go? It's a confusing and frustrating experience that leaves you feeling emotionally drained and questioning how someone can push you away and still cling to your presence at the same time. This push-pull dynamic is a hallmark of relationships with narcissists, and it can leave you stuck in a cycle of confusion and emotional turmoil. 1 minute, they're ending the relationship, and the next, they're reappearing, causing even more instability and emotional pain in your life. It's hard to understand how someone could behave this way, especially when their actions don't make sense. Why would they break up with you, only to continually re-enter your life as if nothing ever ended? To understand why narcissists engage in this baffling behavior, we must first look at the psychology behind their actions. Narcissists are deeply driven by an insatiable need for control, validation, and attention. Their self-worth is entirely dependent on how others perceive them and how much admiration they receive from those around them. When they break up with you, it's often because they feel you no longer serve their ego or give them the attention they crave. Once they've discarded you, they may feel a temporary sense of relief, as though they've regained control over the situation. However, this relief is short-lived. As soon as they perceive that you're moving on, healing, or finding independence, their insecurity and fear of losing control take over. This fear triggers their need to pull you back in and reassert their dominance. They can't stand the thought of you being completely freed from their influence. In their mind, you're their property, and they're not ready to let go, whether they admit it or not. So, why would they break up with you in the first place, only to pull you back in when you start to heal? It's about control. Narcissists thrive on keeping their partners in a constant state of emotional flux. By breaking up with you, they create an emotional vacuum where you are left wondering what went wrong, what you could have done differently, and why they left in the first place. This uncertainty keeps you emotionally invested in them, and the longer you remain emotionally tied, the harder it becomes to break free. When you start to detach and regain your own sense of self, the narcissist feels threatened, as if they're losing their power over you. They need to feel as though they have the upper hand, and by reappearing in your life, they reinforce the idea that they are still in control. It's not about wanting you back in the traditional sense. It's about maintaining power and dominance over your emotions. This cycle of breaking up and coming back, of pushing you away and pulling you in, creates a toxic dynamic that can leave you emotionally battered and confused. Narcissists often feed off the instability they create in their relationships, as it ensures that they always have a source of validation and attention. The highs and lows of these relationships can keep you hooked, causing you to constantly seek approval and affirmation from someone who is never fully available or emotionally stable. It's a never-ending loop that keeps you emotionally dependent on them, even though their behavior may cause you immense pain and frustration. Understanding the psychological reasoning behind why narcissists break up with you and then insist on staying in your life is key to breaking free from their emotional grip. The narcissist's actions are not random or accidental. They are part of a carefully calculated strategy to keep you emotionally invested and under their control. When you realize that their behavior is not about love or care, but rather about manipulation and control, it becomes easier to recognize the toxic patterns they create. The truth is, narcissists don't truly want to see you move on. They just can't bear the thought of losing the power they hold over you. When you begin to heal and reclaim your independence, that's when they will show up again, attempting to re-enter your life and disrupt your progress. Whether you're currently in a relationship with a narcissist or have recently ended things, understanding the underlying motives behind their actions can offer clarity and insight into how to regain control over your emotional well-being. It's essential to acknowledge that the narcissist's behavior is not about you. It's about their need for control and their inability to handle the reality of you moving on. Once you can detach emotionally from their influence, you'll be able to break free from their toxic grip and regain a sense of peace and stability in your life. It's not easy, but it's possible. Before we dive deeper into this topic and explore how narcissists manipulate their partners emotionally, let me take a moment to invite you to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with anyone who might be going through similar experiences. Your support helps us reach more people who are navigating the complexities of narcissistic relationships, and it allows us to continue offering valuable insights into how you can break free from these toxic cycles. Together, we can shed light on the manipulation tactics narcissists use, and we can empower one another to rise above the emotional turmoil they create. You are not alone in this journey, and with the right tools and understanding, you can heal and move forward with strength and clarity. Now let's take a deeper look into this perplexing and frustrating behavior. Why narcissists break up with you, yet keep coming back to hold on to you. It's a dynamic that seems to defy logic, leaving many feeling confused and emotionally drained. At the heart of this behavior is the narcissist's intense and unrelenting need for validation, admiration, and control. Their sense of self-worth is incredibly fragile, and it's entirely dependent on external sources. Unlike individuals with a healthy sense of self-esteem, narcissists don't derive their value from within. Instead, they rely on the constant praise, attention, and affirmation from others to maintain the image of themselves they wish to project to the world. This image is often carefully constructed, and they'll do anything they can to preserve it. So, when you first enter a relationship with a narcissist, they typically begin by showering you with attention, affection, and compliments. This phase is known as love bombing, and it's a powerful manipulative tactic designed to hook you into the relationship. During this time, you may feel as though you are the center of their world, and they make you feel special, important, and deeply desired. They know exactly how to create an emotional connection, but this connection is only superficial, driven by their need to maintain their image and their control. However, as time passes, this intense affection and attention begin to fade. Narcissists are not capable of maintaining healthy, long-term relationships because they lack the emotional depth required to foster genuine connections. Their need for constant admiration only grows, and no matter how much validation they receive, it's never enough. They are always craving more, and when their partner is unable to provide the level of praise and attention they desire, they begin to feel dissatisfied, unfulfilled, and even resentful. This is when the devaluation phase begins. They may start withdrawing emotionally, behaving in ways that belittle or undermine their partner, and in some cases, they may even start criticizing or blaming their partner for things that have little to do with the actual situation. Ultimately, when the narcissist feels as though their ego has been wounded or their needs have not been met, they may break up with their partner altogether, but not necessarily because they want to end things for good. In fact, it's often more about the narcissist's need to regain control over the situation and their partner. Here's where things get even more confusing. After the breakup, the narcissist doesn't simply disappear from your life. They may leave you with a sense of abandonment, but they don't fully let go. They often reappear at a time when they sense that their former partner is beginning to heal, find closure, or even start to move on. This is when the narcissist's need for control becomes most evident, They can't bear the thought of their former partner being emotionally independent and detached from them. Their ego can't handle the idea that they're no longer the center of attention in your life, so they will re-enter your life in whatever way they can. This could include reaching out with promises of change, expressing sorrow for their past actions, or offering empty gestures of affection. They might even display anger, frustration, or try to manipulate you into thinking that you're the one who's to blame for the breakup. Whatever tactics they use, the goal is the same: to ensure that you remain emotionally attached to them, even if they no longer want a full relationship or are not fully committed to you. The narcissist's behavior is contradictory and manipulative. On one hand, they've ended the relationship, leaving you feeling rejected and emotionally hurt. On the other hand, they won't fully let you go. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to maintain control over your emotions, even if they no longer desire a real relationship with you. They may even justify their actions by telling you they miss you, that they made a mistake, or that they've changed. But the truth is, they are not truly interested in reconciling or addressing the issues that led to the breakup in the first place. They're not looking for emotional resolution. They're looking to keep you emotionally hooked. As long as they can maintain a presence in your life, even if it's only intermittent, they still have access to the emotional energy and validation you provide. They don't want to see you heal or move on, because that would mean losing their grip on you and the power they derive from your attention. The narcissist's behavior is all about power and control. Your healing and emotional independence challenge their need to dominate and manipulate you. They thrive on keeping you in a state of confusion, constantly questioning whether the breakup is truly over or if there's still hope for reconciliation. By breaking up with you, they create an emotional void, and as you begin to heal and find closure, they sense that void being filled by your own personal growth and self-worth. This threatens their control, so they will do whatever it takes to stop you from completely moving on. They want to ensure that you are still emotionally invested in them, still yearning for their approval and validation, even if they've already discarded you once. This cycle of breakup, withdrawal, and re-engagement is a form of emotional manipulation, and it's designed to keep you on an emotional roller coaster. The narcissist knows exactly how to push your emotional buttons, and they use this knowledge to maintain control over your feelings and your actions. By constantly keeping you in a state of uncertainty, they ensure that you remain emotionally tied to them. Even though they may not want a genuine relationship, they don't want you to be free from their influence. They want to keep you hanging on, waiting for the next sign of affection or validation. It's exhausting and destabilizing, and the longer you stay caught in this cycle, the harder it becomes to break free from their grip. When you finally begin to detach emotionally from a narcissist and gain the strength to move on with your life, the narcissist feels threatened. The idea of you finding happiness, peace, or fulfillment without them is unbearable to them. Their sense of control, power, and importance starts to diminish, and they cannot tolerate the thought of you existing independently. This fear leads them to return, often unexpectedly, to reassert their dominance over you. Their actions are driven by a deep need to remind you of their significance in your life. However, this is not a genuine desire for connection or love. It's a calculated power struggle where the narcissist seeks to maintain control over your emotions. They want to continue feeding their fragile ego, regardless of the toll it takes on your mental and emotional well-being. In some instances, after a breakup, the narcissist might re-enter your life just to test the waters. They may casually reach out, observing your responses and actions to determine whether you still care about them, if you will readily fall back into the same cycle of giving them the admiration and attention they crave. They may probe to see if you are still emotionally dependent on them, or if you've truly begun to heal and find independence. If they sense that you no longer feel the same attachment, or that you are no longer emotionally reliant on their validation, they may retreat once more. However, this retreat is often temporary. They will return again when they feel they are losing their grip on you, or if they detect any shift in the balance of power. Their behavior is never about reconciliation or emotional healing. It's purely about maintaining their control over your feelings and keeping you locked in a state of dependency on them. This cycle of engagement and withdrawal is incredibly damaging, not just emotionally, but psychologically as well. The narcissist's unpredictable actions leave you in a constant state of uncertainty, where you're always questioning whether their feelings for you are real or if you can trust their words or behavior. This confusion makes you doubt your own worth, and you begin to wonder if you truly deserve the love and respect you seek. The narcissist knows that by creating this emotional instability, they can keep you in a state of turmoil, unsure of yourself, and constantly seeking their approval. Their actions are designed to keep you on edge, always wondering whether they will truly leave or come back again. This gives them a continuous source of validation and ensures they retain control over your emotional state. The longer you stay in this cycle, the harder it becomes to break free, especially when you're still emotionally invested in them and the relationship. It's a toxic and draining dynamic, and unfortunately, it can be difficult to recognize while you are still caught in it. The narcissist's ability to manipulate and control your emotions can be so powerful that it clouds your judgment and distorts your sense of reality. But breaking free is possible. And the first step in doing so is understanding that the narcissist's actions are not about you, even though they are directed toward you. Their behavior is driven by an insatiable need for validation, attention, and dominance. It's important to remember that you are not the cause of their actions, nor are you the person they truly care about. The narcissist is simply using you to feed their own insecurities and to reinforce their sense of self-importance. One of the most important realizations in breaking free from the narcissist's grip is recognizing that their manipulative tactics are just that, manipulation. They will use whatever they can to keep you in their orbit, whether it's guilt, affection, anger, or emotional blackmail. They are skilled at making you feel responsible for their emotional state, often twisting the truth or playing the victim. They may try to guilt-trip you into feeling as if you owe them something, or they may attempt to manipulate you with promises of change or declarations of love. But understanding that this behavior is rooted in their own need for control is crucial for breaking free from the cycle. The key to protecting yourself from this kind of emotional manipulation is to stop allowing the narcissist to dictate the terms of your emotional life. Once you recognize their actions for what they truly are, you can begin to reclaim your personal power. Instead of constantly seeking their approval or worrying about their reactions, you start prioritizing your own emotional health and well-being. You begin to take control of your own life again, focusing on your growth and healing, rather than being stuck in the cycle of narcissistic abuse. Setting clear, firm boundaries with the narcissist is an essential part of this process. These boundaries may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to accommodating their needs and desires. However, sticking to your boundaries is vital for regaining control over your emotions and your life. The narcissist will try to push against these boundaries, testing them to see if you will give in. They might attempt to manipulate you into bending or ignoring your limits. But it's important to stand strong and remain consistent, even when they try to provoke you. The more you assert your boundaries and enforce them, the less power the narcissist will have over your emotional world. In some cases, cutting ties completely with the narcissist is the healthiest option. While this may not always be possible, Especially if there are shared responsibilities like children or work, it's important to minimize contact as much as possible. The more distance you create between yourself and the narcissist, the less impact they will have on your emotional state. By cutting ties, you remove the narcissist's ability to continue manipulating you, which is key to healing and reclaiming your life. The process of breaking free from a narcissist's emotional control is not easy, and it takes time and effort. However, it is entirely possible to regain your independence and rebuild your emotional strength. As you stop allowing them to control your feelings and emotions, you empower yourself to move forward, find peace, and heal from the damage they caused. By setting and maintaining strong boundaries, you protect your emotional health, and the narcissist's power over you will diminish. Ultimately, the more you prioritize your own well-being, the less hold the narcissist will have over your life. And in the end, that is the true path to healing. Now, as we wrap up, I want to thank you for watching, subscribing, and engaging with this content. If you found these insights helpful, please leave a comment below sharing your experiences or thoughts. Narcissistic relationships are complex, but with knowledge and awareness, you can break free from the toxic cycles they create. Remember, your emotional well-being is worth protecting, and you deserve to live a life free from manipulation. Stay strong and take control of your journey to healing. Thank you for joining us today. Narcissists hate you because they need you. Have you ever felt like someone was simultaneously drawn to you and repelled by you, as if they needed you, but the more they got to know you, the more they seemed to hate you? If you've encountered a narcissist in your life, you may know exactly what I'm talking about. It can be deeply confusing, even painful, to experience this push and pull dynamic with a narcissist. But there's a reason for it, and it has everything to do with their distorted sense of self and their insatiable need for validation. It's a paradox. The narcissist both craves your attention and despises your ability to hold your own. They need you to exist in their world, but they can't stand that you are a separate individual with your own thoughts, needs, and desires. This article will explore the complex and contradictory